Okay, hello, hello, amigos, amigas. How are you doing tonight? So, this night, the stream is about trying to improve my English skills. So, let's begin with a video. I'm just looking
Hello,
for
I'm Emma from.
random videos on YouTube about uh, improving English speaking skills.
Hello, I'm
So
Emma
let's go with
from
this one. It's a
English.
it's a
In
random
this
video,
video, we're going
but
to
the
talk
thing
about
is,
four things.
I want to read you on the chat. I want to read you. I want to please you um, correct me when I make some mistakes when I'm speaking on English, but I'm trying to do my best. I'm a Mexican guy. I have never been outside of Mexico. I live on a really touristic place. So my English, I learned it on the street, on a day. Uh, but I want to improve it, so maybe in the future if I go to the United States, if I go to America, I can use my skills to survive on an environment when the most of the people just speak English. So let's go for it.
Things that you can do every day to improve your English. I think we can all agree that learning English or learning any language takes time and effort and dedication. But the most successful language learners, they find a way for their language to become a part of their daily life. It just becomes a habit, like brushing your teeth. If you want to
Yeah,
improve, your English practice should become a daily habit.
a daily habit.
To help you with
Yes.
this, I'm going to share four things that you can and you should be doing every day to improve your English. And yes, I am suggesting that you do all four things every day, but they're not huge tasks. And we're going to talk about how
Yes,
you
of
can make them
course.
a bit of
So
fun too.
that's one
So come
thing,
check it out.
that's one thing that I really like about learning a new language. I only know Spanish because I'm Mexican, and I know English because I live in a touristic place. But the thing is that if you want to learn a language, you just begin with the small things. You don't try to learn big sentences like like trying to have a conversation. You need to learn the ABC, the vowels, um, and that's the thing that's why I'm doing this kind of project on Twitch, because I want to improve my English and maybe in the near future to learn another language, because I know that uh, every one of us can learn new things at any stage of our lives. Like, it's just not for kids. We can learn languages in our middle age, but we just need to exercise that muscle on our brain to do it. So this is the beginning of this journey on this project that I want to do. If it doesn't start as in the way that I imagine, maybe I can do something else. But for now, I want to learn to improve my English and then learn another language, maybe Japanese. I don't know. So let's go further.
That. Before I share these four things that you should be doing every day, I want to thank our friends Lingoda who've partnered with us to bring you today's lesson.
Sponsor.
Pronunciation. Yes, you
Pronunciation.
should be practicing your pronunciation every day.
Pronunciation.
And it's not to try and get rid of your accent, but to make it clear enough that others can comfortably understand you when you speak. I
Yes,
can't tell
yes.
you the number of advanced English students I've had who've had amazing grammar and vocabulary skills, but so much trouble communicating because their accent makes it quite challenging for others to understand them. So, of
Okay.
course, all of this affects smooth, positive, comfortable conversation. And depending on where you learned English, your teacher may not have focused on pronunciation. It may not have been the
Ajá.
priority at the
Yeah,
time.
that's right,
You
that's
see, if
right.
you learned English at
Eso es
school,
totalmente
your teacher's
entendible.
main aim was probably to get you high marks in your exam. Pronunciation was probably not their focus at that time. But in the real world, when you're using English to speak with
When
other
you're using
people,
English
your
to speak,
pronunciation,
your
your fluency
pronunciation
when you speak, it's so incredibly
is,
important.
oh
Get
yeah,
into
it's
the habit of
important. Yes, it
learning
is.
and
Yes, of
using
course.
the
It's not the
correct
same to
pronunciation today.
it's not the same to tell like a Mexican guy, hey, where are you coming from, amigos? So to saying, where are you coming from, amigos? It's like, and there's a muscle memory on the throat, and the tongue, on the lips, and the mouth. So everything changes. So I'm trying to improve my vocabulary, my understanding of the language, but I'm on an early stage of it. So now I'm trying to cross that barriers, because I'm a Mexican guy. I have never been outside of Mexico. I live on a really small island. It's a touristic place, so that's the way that I've learned my English. But I'm trying to improve it and get it further, más allá. Lo quiero llevar más allá. Realmente lo que quiero es mejorar mucho mi inglés. Y este es un pequeño proyecto. This is a little project that I'm just carrying on, de lo que estoy llevando conmigo para poder este, mejorar mi inglés. Es just to improve my English. But maybe in the near future, probablemente en el futuro cercano, we're gonna change the subject on the channel. But this is, I'm trying to get back into the streaming thing, on Twitch or maybe YouTube or maybe Facebook, uh, because I have been doing this for a lot of, a few years from now, um, about video games and everything. And so I just took a break, uh, like about 7 months break, something like that. And I want to change things, but now I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where I want to take this uh, inspiration that I have to make content. Uh, but now I'm trying to take my passion into the English language people, because maybe like on an average, on if you take based on mathematics, is like for each Mexican people, maybe there's 10 American people that is using platforms as Twitch or something. So I want to get into a bigger audience, and I want to take the message for as much people as I can. But for that, I need to improve my English. So that's what I'm doing this, but this is just the beginning for one project that I'm just thinking about. And there's a lot of things that are happening now around the world, around the nations, around the politics, around everything. But that's not the matter now. So just let's go on, and I apologize if I make some mistakes when I speak on English. I'm just trying to improve. So that's why I'm doing this. So let's go. I'm just going with the flow, going with the flow, and let's try to improve.
Because it's going to save you lots of headaches and confusion down the track. Plus, practicing your pronunciation every day consistently, it's going to help you to make noticeable improvements in a short space of time.
Oh
So
yeah.
how can you start doing this?
Vamos.
I
Sí se
recommend that
puede.
you learn the IPA, the International Phonetic Alphabet. If you've never heard of it before,
Oh
or
yes,
you don't know a lot
I have
about it,
heard about
then
that.
watch this lesson up here. But learning the IPA will allow you to correctly pronounce every single English word using the
The
correct English sounds. Another
Sounds.
great way to practice your pronunciation is with my imitation lessons. So, in these lessons, I help you to copy me and shadow me as I speak. They're really awesome, quick 10-minute videos that you can practice with regularly. So, add them to a playlist and keep coming back to them and practice with them often. After you've practiced a lesson for a few times, make a recording of yourself and compare it to my voice. Try to identify some of the mistakes that you're making
Okay.
with your pronunciation.
Okay.
I've added a link to my
Pronunciation.
imitation lessons in the description, and I'll add one at the end of
Pronunciation.
this video as well
That's
that you can check out.
okay. Let me tell you this as an Spanish speaking guy. You know, I already got some practice. I already got some um, um, knowledge about the English speaking language. But for a lot of people, just as English talking people, as Spanish talking people, uh, there are certain things that are the common factor on the difference about the language, as the order of sentences. On the sentence, there is an order on the verb and the subject, and there's a lot of rules that change um, between the languages. But the thing is that I already have some knowledge about these rules, and for some people, it's not that intuitive. It's like w- you get an intuition when you learn something, and then you don't have the knowledge about something else, but it's in the same subject. You can by intuition you can uh, make like a, what's the word, what is la palabra, uh, you, it's like, you can, what's the word, cuál es la palabra, eh, you can make a deduction. You can deduce which one is the right answer for that meaning. So it's a really hard thing to explain, but let's go further with the video, because I'm just gibberish now.
You can also simply read out loud to improve your pronunciation. Doing this every day will help your mouth muscles to get working and creating English sounds and get more comfortable
That
doing it.
that that's
It's
what
as simple as
that's what
that, and
I
it
was
doesn't
talking
need to
about.
take you long. Just 5 or 10 minutes a day is plenty. Just make sure you're doing it consistently. You
Yes,
could even do it by singing English songs. Create
I'm a
one
Barbie
opportunity
girl
to
in
absorb
a Barbie
English every day.
world.
To absorb is to
Imagination.
take in information. So you're like a sponge, soaking things up, taking in new ideas, new words, new ways of expressing yourself. And you can do this in lots of different ways, so many ways. Listening to a podcast or an audiobook. You could watch an English movie or any video on YouTube. Read a book or a blog post. In fact,
Yes, of course. That's, I think that you know I born in the 1984. So when I was a kid, before being a teenager, uh, you know, between my 8 and 10 years in the 90s, 92, 94, uh, the main thing among the kids was the arcade machines. And here in Mexico, if you have the chance, the opportunity to go into a private English academy to learn English, so that was my situation. That was my situation. So I went to several academies to learn about the theory about on the English speaking language, but I realized that a lot of things that I made on those times was wrong because I got the theory, but I didn't get the practice. So until I met with some friends that they used to work on a souvenir shop, and they just encouraged me to try to sell a necklace, a necklace or a souvenir or something. They just tell me, "Hey, Fernando, go for it. Just try it." So that's the way I learned that I have a lot of misunderstanding about the English language because with the practice I just get better. So my recommendation, my tip on everyone, if you want to learn another language, um, even if you don't have the opportunity to go to that country where they told that language, just if you have, I have the opportunity to live, I have the chance to live on a really touristic place, and there's a lot of Americans that come here, so I have the chance to speak with them on their language. So I try to always, uh, you know, try, always try, even if you make mistakes, and maybe some people are really close and they don't or they want to be polite and they don't want to be rude with you and to correct you on the way that you speak their language, but I always ask them, please correct me if I made some mistake, you know, because that's the way I got to be better. So they do. So now I'm just talking about English, but uh, I want to learn some more languages. Maybe in the future, maybe it can take me a year, 2 years, 4 years. I don't know, but this is the way. This is the way. Okay, amigos. So now I'm speaking on English. I'm a Mexican. I'm a Spanish talking people. But the idea is if you want to speak on Spanish also, you can ask any question on the chat. That's why I'm here for. So let's go. Let's continue with the thing.
You probably want to mix this up during the week, right? To keep things interesting. A podcast on Monday, read a book on Tuesday, whatever floats your boat. Now, again, this doesn't have to be a huge time-consuming task, but it's worth spending some time searching for the right type of content. It must be stuff that is interesting for you. If you're into football, or you love makeup tutorials, or romance novels, or soap operas. If you love the
Soap
idea of
operas.
sailing around the world,
We
I've
call
been
them
watching a
telenovelas.
YouTube channel called Sailing La Vagabond, and they vlog about their life sailing around the world on a yacht. In fact, if you're interested, I've added the link in the description below. But the point is, find something that interests you and excites you, because you need to look forward to doing it every single day. It shouldn't feel like you're doing English practice. So I have two little recommendations here. Firstly, you need to find the time that you're going to do it and declare it. That is your daily time to absorb English. So it could be on the bus on your way to work or while you're eating breakfast. I've always found
Yes,
that
indeed. Yes,
attaching an
indeed.
activity to the task helps you to make it part of your routine. And while you're doing it, just keep a notebook handy so that you can write down expressions or new words which you can look up and check later on. Simple as that.
Yeah,
Writing
it's simple
every
as that.
day
Tan
has
simple
some
como eso.
amazing
No hay nada
benefits.
más.
But before I talk about that, I want to make it clear, I'm not talking about writing an essay, okay? I'm just talking about writing a few thoughts or a few ideas down. It only has to take a few minutes.
Oh, yes.
And nobody
Hola,
ever
hello.
has to see it. It's just for you.
How are
So
you
there's a few
doing,
reasons
chat?
why
How are you doing?
writing every day
Please
is
say
an
hello on the
excellent
chat.
habit to
I
get
can
into.
read you.
It helps your vocabulary to stick. Writing is one of the best ways to recall new words and expressions that you've come across.
Veterano, hola
When
amigo,
so
qué
many of
bueno
my
que estás
students have
bien.
asked me, what is the best way to remember vocabulary? This is my recommendation.
No, no estoy bien.
As you're reading or
Esto que me
watching
lleva la
TV
chingada.
shows or books, you come across new ideas and words and you write them down. But then you
No
start
estoy
to
bien.
use them yourself. You think of sentences and your own ideas about how to use these words. That way, you're producing your own sentences rather than just listening